2024 CR 010525, State versus Aaron Ramirez. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state,
Samantha Lynn Brown, for the state.
for the
Yeah.
defense?
John St. Heinrich for Aaron Ramirez.
And are you Aaron Ramirez?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you entered a plea on January 16th to paragraph A. You entered a plea of no contest. A PSI and MIC evaluation was ordered. According to the plea bargain agreement, punishment is to be assessed at a cap of 8 years in the prison, and the state is silent on your applications. And there are different cases that are being taken into consideration. Have both parties had a chance to review the PSI
Defense
and
has,
cap evaluation?
defense has, Your Honor.
State has, Your Honor.
Any objection from the state?
No objection, Your Honor.
Any objection from the defense?
No objections from the defense, Judge.
All right, the state is silent. Defense, do you have any witnesses?
I do, Your Honor.
Yes.
First off, may I make an opening statement, Judge?
Sure.
Your Honor, my client has appeared timely for every Florida appearance, and he's here again today to accept responsibility and culpability for the crimes that he's committed, Judge. But if I may be allowed to offer some context to this, Your Honor.
Yes.
My client has severe, he has mental health issues, Judge. And this is not to make light or to make excuses for this situation. My client's parents had separated when he was 5. He's known one of the victims of this case, and there are 2 victims, and they are in fact victims, Judge. He's known one of the victims since he's been a child, childhood friends. The other victim is his childhood friend's girlfriend, Judge. My client has experienced, due to his parents leaving, and hardships growing up. His mom is a primary influence in his life and has raised him. His father's been in and out of the picture, Judge. Due to this, he's got some sense of abandonment issues. While he was growing up, his family had moved, his mom had moved yearly, so he's starting new schools. I think the impetus of this crime was to maintain some kind of connection to his childhood friend. When his childhood friend got into a relationship, he started feeling abandoned. This was his way to connect with him. Now, it doesn't stand logic. There are issues with this. My client has been seeking mental health treatment before this incident and after this incident. He's still currently seeking counseling right now. He's still engaged in counseling weekly, Your Honor. Further, Judge, my client is a full-time college student. He has a job, and he has never been in trouble, never had any criminal charges levied against him before. Your Honor, if I may begin with witnesses.
Yes.
Defense would like to call Miss Maria Ramirez.
And for me, please, do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Johnny Campos.
All right, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Campos, how long have you known Aaron?
I've known Aaron about 2.5 years.
And what's the nature of that relationship, sir?
I am one of his martial arts instructors, and at one class location that I teach at, and then at another school, we're both students at a different school. So I see Miss Aaron about 5 days a week.
5 days a week?
Yes, sir.
And how long is that 5 days a week then?
Since November of 2024.
And before that,
Before that, 2 days a week.
2 days a week?
Yes, sir.
Does it now? What kind of class is it again?
It's martial arts. It's American karate.
Okay. Does that require discipline?
An extreme amount of discipline. Both programs are focused at a high level competition.
Does it require dedication to the trade?
A lot of dedication.
Does Aaron, in your opinion, does Aaron exhibit discipline and dedication?
Absolutely. Outside of him participating in the martial art, he's expected at his level to help teach and instruct our other students.
And how is he with the other students?
He's very good with our other students. Our older teenage students look up to him because he's been so successful in such a short amount of time, and he's much closer in age to them than they are to any of the other instructors. And he also handles our special needs athletes very well. They really respond to him positively.
Have you ever seen Aaron lose his temper?
Never.
What else would you like the court to know about Aaron?
Since I've known Aaron, he's a very, very hard worker. Academically, he's made one of the most impressive comebacks that I've seen. I think now he's pretty close to a 4.0 student. And where he was when I originally met him I didn't think he would recover from that. He's taking huge steps to make his life better and to improve himself continually.
Pardon me. You're aware of the nature and the allegations of the crimes?
Yes, sir.
Have you been able to discuss that with him?
I have, yes.
In your opinion, what's Aaron's attitude towards all this?
He's very remorseful for the decisions that he made. His intent wasn't malicious. He just felt like he was drifting away from a friendship.
And realizing how inappropriate it was to do what he did to maintain the relationship. Do you have any reservations of Aaron being in the community?
Absolutely not.
Do you think that the discipline and dedication that Aaron has shown around you with as a student and being a classmate, do you think that he can follow any and all directives that this court should impose upon him if he's granted community supervision?
Absolutely. And he has a big support network. We're going to hold him accountable and make sure that he succeeds.
Can he hold himself accountable?
He absolutely can.
Because we do realize that Aaron's 21 and he's an adult.
Yes.
No further, we'll pass the witness, Judge.
Questions?
All right, thank you.
No further
Thank you.
questions. Thank you, Mr. Conlon.
Any other witnesses?
No further witnesses, Judge, if I may make a summation.
Sure. All right,
Um,
and when you make your summation, this is the court's issue, and it's based upon what's in the stipulation. So in the stipulation, it states, victim had asked his mother to go inside his bedroom in an attempt to help search for a pair of headphones. Victim lives with witness at the listed location where the offense occurred. As witness one was inside victim one's bedroom searching for the pair of lost headphones, she located E9 behind the headboard of the victim's bed. The witness, not knowing what E9 was, held on to E9 and showed it to victim one the next day. Victim one did not recognize E9 and did not know how E9 ended up inside his room behind the headboard of his bed. Victim one researched E9 using the application Google Lens and discovered E9 is used as a voice recorder. Victim one contacted victim two and the defendant for advice on what to do with E9. Victim two advised victim one to call the police and make an offense report, while the defendant advised victim one to destroy E9. The defendant also offered to come to victim one's home with his own cable in an attempt to investigate E9, and also suggested to victim one that it would not be in victim one's best interest to call the police, as victim one's parents are immigrants and a police report would jeopardize their immigrant status. That's my problem right there. So it doesn't appear, when the witnesses say that he wasn't malicious, to threaten somebody's immigrant status. This is what was stipulated to, saying don't call the police because it's going to hinder your immigrant status, or it's going to jeopardize your immigrant status. That sort of says something about his frame of mind. So I'll hear your argument.
Your Honor, to respond directly to the court's statement, Judge, my client, we can see my client here visually in court. You've heard witness testimony. I believe that my client's motivations were not malicious. He's not, in that text, he's not threatening the victim, using his immigration status as some kind of leverage not to get him to report. My client has experienced an extreme amount of shame. Now, that shame probably does not equal to or exceed the shame that the victims probably are experiencing. I can say that confidently, that my client's shame does not rise to their level of shame for this. My client has been a friend with one of the victims, Daniel Campos, since they were kids. He's a kind and caring individual. He is a sweet kid. I've had extensive interactions with Aaron. I do not believe that he was using this as leverage in a malicious way, and I know how that sounds. And I would, if my client were using that, and again, I don't believe he was, it is abhorrent that to use such a tactic to intimidate. I do not believe it was for intimidation purposes.
Well, I mean, what was it for? Because he's telling them, don't call the police, because if you do, you're gonna jeopardize your immigration status.
My client wishes to address the court.
All right, can you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you can lower your hand. Is there something you wish to say?
I was genuinely afraid that he might actually lose his immigration status. I've known him for 14 years. I've known that it's the case. And throughout this whole thing, I've talked to my lawyer, I've talked to my girlfriend, that that's my absolute worst fear through all of this. I told him that with the intent to go over. And I don't honestly know if I would have talked to him about it and revealed it, but I know that now I've wanted nothing but to actually talk to him about this, and I understand that I might not be able to for however long, and that the consequences might be more far-ranging than that, but I swear that that was not a threat to his immigration status, and I didn't mean it as one. It was a comment I made out of fear.
Out of fear of what?
Fear of him losing his immigration status or not being able to, that he might be deported if he actually goes through with the police report. I don't know how the law works, and to that extent, I didn't know that he had any kind of protection. I don't know if he does, and I'm very fearful of that even now.
All right. Anything else from anyone else?
Your Honor, I would just say information.
Just one second. Any questions with regards to facts?
Okay, have any questions about that?
All right.
Thank you, ma'am. Your Honor, reading the PSI report, the PSI reports recommending deferred adjudication. My client has been admonished by myself as to what deferred adjudication is. He's also been admonished by myself as to the consequences of violating any conditions imposed upon him. And lastly, Judge, he's been admonished as to what this court will do and what the court's tolerance level is for any violations, and that he will be held fully accountable if he does violate, and if this court does not play around. I know that, and he's been admonished as well, that this court does believe in equity and justice, and he understands that violating any terms and conditions that the court would impose upon him, what the court's going to do if he does violate those conditions. And Your Honor, my client's 21 years old. Again, he's a full-time college student. He's working. He is actively engaged in mental health treatments on a weekly basis. He has never been in trouble before, Your Honor. And respectfully, we ask that the court grant a term of 8 years deferred adjudication, or in the alternative, 8 years community supervision, Judge. We do not believe he is a threat, an ongoing threat to this community.
Judge, if I may, I just want to correct something he said. I don't believe that PSI recommends deferred adjudication. It only indicates that he is eligible for it. My understanding is that all PSIs don't make a recommendation as to whether a defendant should be on community supervision, only that if they are eligible under the condition.
That is correct.
Here you go.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, this is what the court is going to do. The court is going to find you guilty. The court is taking in consideration 2024 CR 010521, CM 119819. And I want you to know that I did listen to all of your witnesses. And I took all of that in consideration, as well as the PSI report and as well as your statement. The court is going to sentence you to 2 years in the prison, give you credit for any time served. There's a $3,000 fine, time and money to run concurrent. Did you review the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it?
Your Honor.
All right, because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. All right, good luck to you.
Judge.